On this week's episode, Xbox loses its first battle. Star Wars finds another Jedi Survivor. And what's going on at CinemaCon? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford. Right there, right there. Yeah, right there, right there. From Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us that magical 5. Not like John Cena, you can't see me, but 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you could like, share, subscribe. That's right, subscribe if you're on YouTube to get the latest notifications on when we're doing something really good on the air, like having another great interview, a state of pro wrestling, or you never know, we might even drop in another episode of Vason like we did last weekend. So catch it here, but you'll only be able to know when by subscribing today on YouTube. Plus, again, if you could like, share, subscribe, follow, or do whatever it is that you can to support us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, the Lakers Fast Break, Vampires and Vitae, Wizards and Wine with Wild Beyond the Witchlight. And you know what? They're all having fun there all the time. So go ahead and check them out wherever you get your podcasts, plus also on YouTube as well. Pop Culture Cosmos. .wordpress.com and Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, where we put the latest news and trends in pop culture right there for you. And you got to see a lot of good stuff and hear a lot of good news about CinemaCon this past week right there for you at the Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. And if you could do all of that, it is sincerely appreciated. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend and my evil conspirator in kind. Let's hear your laugh. Come on, go ahead. You got a good laugh. Oh my gosh,
that's about all I got.
That's more evil than mine. I wonder why. Maybe I should ask Robbie.
Maybe.
Why is her laugh so evil? He's probably going to just run right out of the room.
Yeah,
but it is.
If he was smart, he would decline to comment.
He is smart.
He is smart. That is true.
Yes. But it is a young lady you got to go ahead and catch today on Vason on the Pop Culture Cosmos, as they're taking care of a great new adventure right there for you. Plus also as well, Wizards and Wine with Wild Beyond the Witchlight, whether it's the Halifax or Las Vegas tables. And of course, what she does is she actually plays up on that smart guy, Robbie Ross, at Vampires of Vitae. It is a good friend indeed. It is Melinda Barkhouse Ross. And Melinda, I wish we were doing this on the floor of the Caesars convention areas, because we would be talking nonstop with actors and directors alike at CinemaCon. But you know what? Here's not bad at all as well.
Yeah, no, we'll get there. We'll get on the floor. I've got people. I'm sorry, I forgot to reach out to them again this year.
All right. Well, if we could do it around January or February-ish, because that's how long they need the leadway in order for get us there. Okay. Again, I told you that's the holy grail. The two holy grails left for me in conventions, because I've been to conventions all over the West Coast. There's only two left: Comic-Con and CinemaCon. If I could get into those two, my bucket list for conventions is complete. So there you go.
I have set a reminder for January 8th of 2024.
Okay. Sounds good.
Just to let you know, it's in there. It's in the calendar. It's officially going to happen.
So I'm going to try and stay alive to that point, so that, just this random time. Oh, time to go ahead and get your... Oh, wait, he's dead. Oh, well. I guess I'll go have fun at CinemaCon myself. Come on, Robbie, let's go.
You'd be with us in spirit.
There you go. Yes, absolutely.
Your headset.
Absolutely, indeed. But it is CinemaCon. It is here. We're going to talk about what all the movies that were debuted by the studios shown off with either footage, trailers, or a couple cases actually showed off the entire film, just like last year when Top Gun Maverick wowed the crowd at CinemaCon. So we'll talk about that here for the first bit on the front end of the show. The back end of the show, a major decision was made by the UK in regards to Activision and their pending, which is now very much pending, purchase by Xbox. What happened, and does Xbox still have a chance and opportunity to go ahead and get this thing done? We'll talk about that in a bit as well. Plus, also, speaking of video games, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, as we get a sequel to one of the most popular Star Wars games that have been made in quite some time. That is coming out this week. In fact, it already has come out, so you're probably playing it right after you listen to this. So we'll talk about that as well. And then also on the show, I want to go ahead and not forget about Disney Plus that comes out this weekend. If you're into it, it's another Peter Pan and Wendy type deal, type movie, type TV show, type series, type movie, type special, types everything you want to say. It is a movie that's coming out to Disney Plus. We'll see. We'll talk about if you want to go ahead and check it out, and we'll talk about that on the show as well. But first, my friend, it is CinemaCon. Whoo, daddy, I tell you, a lot of good stuff coming from there. Every major studio showed off a ton of footage there. I think your eyeballs would be bleeding if you were there right now. If we were there right now, I know my eyeballs would probably be just like my eyelids would be peeled like on the wrong side of my head after all the footage I got to see in advance. Only a couple of those trailers have actually been released out to the public, and we've got them on the Facebook page for Pop Culture Cosmos. So I will say though that there's been a ton of footage, and as far as a lot of excitement, they all look good in short bursts. But before I give you the rundown and everyone out there, the rundown on all the stuff that was actually shown, or at least I'm going to say a good portion of it per se. What are your thoughts on CinemaCon and what you've heard so far?
I mean, I'm hearing a lot of stuff that I may have some conflicted feelings on. Like I'm hearing how good the Flash movie is.
Mhm. That was the first thing, and that was one of the few actual trailers, additional trailers that did get released this week to the public.
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful to see Michael Keaton's Batman back on the big screen. Please don't get me wrong there, but with everything that's been going on with Ezra Miller, I'm just not sure what it is that is. I just don't know what the difference is between Ezra Miller versus any of the other celebrities who have done rumored to even to have done stuff, and we have proof and evidence and arrests, and Ezra Miller is still able to not just keep his role, but still have his movie and all of that stuff. Sorry, still have their movie and all of that stuff. So it's baffling to me. I'm so confused by it. I'm glad for Michael Keaton that the movie is getting good reviews. I guess I don't know. I'm feeling very conflicted about the whole thing, to be honest.
And I don't blame you. Again, I know that TJ Johnson and I interact, and because he has a late night gig, he always interacts with me as far as the DMs and talks about pop culture at sometimes 1 or 2 in the morning at my
Right?
time.
Yeah.
So he hits me up, and one of the things he hit me up with was this with Ezra Miller, and he was talking about how if you've caught one of our Pop Culture Cosmos, him and I went back and forth on it as far as the direction of the DC universe. And I said Flash Point would be a good movie for an ending, as I've told you before, an ending for this part of the DC universe, and then just start clean with James Gunn stuff. But he said he was trying to go ahead and let me know about how good the reviews were. And I said, yeah, I heard on that, but don't ask me to be really invigorated by going to see this, because it's been a relation to the mediocres to sub mediocre DC movies that have been produced for the most part for the past 7, 8 years.
Mhm.
And then also as well, although there is some good movies. I mean, obviously we can conclude the Batman was pretty good. We conclude the Joker movie was actually really good. So there's some outliner. The original Wonder Woman I thought was enjoyable. So there's some outliers on some of the movies, but for the most part, they've had some very uneasy results. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not, and I will not, and I cannot be as eager to go see the Flash, no matter how good the reviews are, because of what the movie represents and what the movie has, I guess, taken place before, what has taken place before this movie starts, and what has taken place, what will take place after this movie starts. I really just am really kind of concerned, it still got that feeling for me like a lame duck movie.
Sure, sure. I simply adding Michael Keaton to the movie gives me incentive to go and see it.
Mm.
You know, and I'm sure there are other people out there who do feel the same way. So, but it does, you know, with the stuff that I've seen, and it's not just, you know, critics and stuff like that who have managed to see the movie. I'm, you know, I'm starting to see stuff from, you know, average Q public who has managed to see it, and they they're all raving about it as well. So just that alone tells me that it's got to be something good, because I know that we're not the only people having the conversation around Ezra Miller either. I know there are a lot of people who, you know, do also feel a little bit conflicted about it, and wanting to not necessarily wanting to support a movie with, you know, an actor in the main role who has been up to some of the stuff that Ezra Miller has been up to. But you know, I'm Ca God, am I cautiously optimistic? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I'm feeling wishy-washy about it, Gerald, and I can't.
You and I both. You and I
Yeah,
both.
I'm just having a hard time with a hard yes or a hard no. If I'm floating somewhere in the ether between the two.
I can't say I blame you a bit. And again, it's because of the fact that not only what Ezra Miller has done, but also as well this whole Snyderverse relation to where
Yeah.
where not only Zack Snyder didn't get the chance to finish out his vision, but the mediocre ups and downs that we've had from those movies in
Mm.
his whole Snyderverse in the first place, and then the fact that how much of it what we're seeing now, how much of what we're seeing in the near future with Aquaman 2, the Batman 2, even Constantine, how much of that will be carried over into the James Gunn universe when he specifically outlined to the fact that most of that stuff is just going to be legacy stuff that's going to be forgotten about 10 years from now. So I really don't know how much I want to get invested in the Flashpoint, but I know I will at some point check it out just because, again, of the advanced word has been so strong.
Yeah, maybe the answer is just wait till it's on streaming. Maybe that's the answer with it. Although I do seem to recall during CinemaCon that there were, I want to say, two movie companies that came out and said, "Sorry, but we're not doing the straight to streaming thing."
Well, yeah, they all came out, but this time they're no longer.
Oh,
They
they
all
all
said
did that, did they?
they all had like a CEO. Almost virtually all of them had a CEO because now it's convenient to go ahead and show everything in the movies because, of course, the COVID, everything is relating to COVID almost virtually everything has been lifted, restrictions, requirements. All those things have been tried to be, for the most part, been put behind us here in North America, or at least in the United States part. And then, for that, you had all of these different CEOs, especially Warner Brothers, which did the straight to streaming and really popularized it during COVID and had several movies go straight to HBO Max or day and date with HBO Max and the movies out there. They basically were trying to kiss a lot of booty to the theater owners out there this week, along with Disney, along with every one of them, whether it was a big star or a big CEO, they all guaranteed that all of their great projects or the projects that they believe in would go straight to the theaters first, even to the point where Netflix and Apple are starting to lean that way as well, with giving them more exclusive windows with certain movies before they hit those streaming outlets.
Yeah, I think it's really too bad, honestly. I liked the day and date. I know it wasn't, you know, financially good for the movies, but I like anything that gives me an excuse to not have to put on a pair of pants and leave my house. You know, like I'm all for that. So I'm a little bit sad that you know, the big companies have said no to going directly to streaming and stuff. It's kind of a bummer for me, but you know, it financially it makes sense, and if we want to continue, I guess, to see movies the way that we have seen movies, then we've got to start going back to the movie theater.
And to give you a little also update as well, one of the
Mhm.
last movies that they showed so far this week was actually reveal of that they actually did make public and is available now on Facebook at Pop Culture Cosmos, is the Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the prequel
Prequel, yeah.
to, yep, the entire story of the Hunger Games. I don't know how long they're going to stretch this one out as far as that's concerned, but yeah, that one looks like they're going to set up for another long road of movies for that one. So if you're really into the Hunger Games, that's obviously going to be something you're going to be interested in. But yeah, just I can list down all the stuff as far as off the top of my head or what I saw or what I heard about. You talk about it, Universal, Disney, Paramount, Sony, all these different companies, all these different major movie studios talking about what they're doing, all these different stars that showed up. Whether, like you said, like I said, was the Hunger Games that were showing up as far as the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Martin Scorsese, the great Martin Scorsese, he was there showcasing one of his great films that was that has been talked about for a long time, Killers of the Flower Moon. That's coming from Apple and Paramount. That's going to Cannes, but it was also he unveiled a teaser at CinemaCon there. John Krasinski, A Quiet Place. I think Day One is what it's called. That one extends the Quiet Place, I guess, movie universe that it's in. So that's what he talked about there. And then also announced a movie, If, that's going to come, that he's got in development, announced a few stars for that. There's also talk of a Dodgeball reunion with Vince Vaughn starring. So that was also confirmed as being done as well. But a ton of things that were shown off, from Craven the Hunter, from all the, as far as that, the new movies from Disney that are coming out, including Wish, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is coming out next week. So many more extended views. The Marvels was given a look. There's so many different things were shown off. It was just so incredible seeing Wicked with Ariana Grande, the first look at her on screen in that movie, as far as that musical that's coming out. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. That's one I want to see. That's near the top of my list. And in fact, I want to let everybody know, next week, you and I, we start our summer movie preview is next week, just to let you
Man,
know. Because guess what comes next week? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and that kicks off the summer movie season the first week of May. So
right.
got to go ahead and talk about that. But so many movies, all as far as the new movies, as far as new Kung Fu Panda that's coming out, Trolls, Smurfs, those movies, those family-friendly movies, those were talked about as far as different stars, talking about the various roles in there. Just so many things that were talked about. My gosh, too numerous to mention, but I'm going to try and mention more anyways. But there's Oppenheimer.
Mm.
Christopher Nolan talked about Oppenheimer and talked about not only about the man himself that they based the movie off of, but actually showed off some footage from there as well. All this great stuff that shows that everybody is taking a concerted effort. I'm sorry about this, Melinda, but a concerted effort to bring all these movies to theaters first.
Yeah, and like I said, I understand the reasoning. It doesn't mean I have to be happy with it.
It's okay now to go around in public in your pajamas. My kids
um,
do it. The kids do it all the time around my kids' age.
maybe it was different here in Las Vegas, but back in my hometown, it was always okay. We'd be going to school
Okay.
in our
But
pajama
it's
pants.
the thing now. It's the thing now. Pajama
Yeah.
pants. Actually, the school where my girls had to go had to kind of ban it and say no. But yeah, because
Mm,
people were going all the time too much in pajama bottoms. So
yeah.
yeah, there you go. I mean, so you could
Comfy's
just head it,
comfy, man.
grab your smart Robbie Rob, very smart Robbie Rob, as we indicated earlier.
Yep.
Grab him, and if he's smart, he's going to say, "Okay, let's go, pajama bottoms and all, to the movie theater."
Well, yeah, I guess I could do. There's still the problem of having to leave my house, though. There's so many people out there. I'm just kidding. It's not really that bad, but it's taken me a lot to get to the movie theater for some reason. One movie that might do it this year is Dune, and we're finally well, got the trailer for the next Dune movie.
And they
So
show that off at CinemaCon. Dune
yeah.
Part Two. Both Timothée Chalamet, his hair,
Hmm.
and also as well. That's an inside joke. I keep telling my daughters. Yeah, Timothée Chalamet was there, plus his hair, the co-star. Yeah, Zendaya was also there after she did a set at Coachella, which was awesome. From what I was told, yeah, she was also there at CinemaCon. Just so many good things to look at. Plus, also Timothée Chalamet showed off his upcoming Willy Wonka movie, Wonka. So that was also shown off as well. Just so many great movies. Again, Wicked Part 1 with Ariana Grande, that was also shown off by Universal. Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling. The Barbie movie was shown off in more detail. Just some other focus features got a chance to go ahead and show off Drive Away Dolls, The Holdovers, and just the last installment of My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, and of course Asteroid City, which I think we talked briefly about the other week, Wes Anderson's movie, which if you have not seen the
Yes.
trailer yet, is really, how should I say, Wes Anderson? I
Yeah, it's
think
very
it's very
very
Wes Anderson.
symmetrical. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very Wes Anderson-ish, and Tom
Yeah.
Hanks is in it, and Scarlett Johansson. It really looks like it's going to be a fun time. Of course, the Fast X was shown off with Vin Diesel, and the big news was that he was going off away from what the teleprompter said. He was just talking about stuff from the heart, about trying to kiss butt again to the theater owners. We're doing it all for you. We're coming back. We're going to make you happy. La la la. And everybody, of course, cheered about that. And again, it's about driving the business back towards the theaters. I cannot say I blame them. Absolutely, it's a great sign for people who love to go to the movies that these movies are coming back again. Because one of the things we have seen in the past recent years that we've talked about on the show is that certain movies are not coming back to the theaters as prevalent as they once were. Certain rom-coms, certain adult movies, old movies are geared for older audiences,
Yeah,
younger
not adult movies, but movies
yeah.
like rated R.
Movies
Yeah.
like rated R, but also like older generation movies,
Right.
family fun movies, family, a lot of animated movies. Think Super Mario Brothers has eased the tension for a lot of movie theater owners out there, because I think with the bad returns of Lightyear
Mhm.
and the bad returns of Strange World last year, that really got people thinking about, will families go back to the theaters in droves? And with Super Mario Brothers movie, they certainly have. So I think coming off that high, leading into CinemaCon this week, I think it's been a really, really a great week for CinemaCon. And I know there's a lot more to tell when it comes to what was shown off there.
Yeah, it'll be a couple more days, I think, before we really get to the bottom of the basket of everything that happened and was announced and was shown and was talked about at CinemaCon. So there probably be more for us to talk about again next week too.
Oh, well, I don't. Well, we're going to be doing a lot of that on our movie preview, our summer movie preview that's going to come next week. So I'm looking forward to going ahead and covering, exactly like you said, a lot of that. Illumination, after striking it rich with Super Mario Brothers, which is Universal, they now come back and announced at CinemaCon Migration, which has an all-star cast attached to it. Of course, when I talked about Disney, not only GOTG3 was shown off a little bit in more detail and grand scope, but also as well Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Harrison Ford debuted a lot more footage for that movie, so that was shown off there. Also, again, I mentioned Disney's Wish, which is a great animated feature, which they showcased off at CinemaCon as well. Some great things that they shown off all over the place. When you talk about A Haunting in Venice, which Kenneth Branagh, latest Agatha Christie movie, the A Haunting in Venice, because I was wondering if after the last Kenneth Branagh Agatha Christie movie, that was going to continue. I wasn't sure if the returns were going to be enough to warrant a third one, but it looks like it has.
Yeah, this one is going to wrap up the trilogy.
Yeah.
This will be the third one of those, and yeah, so I'm excited for that. I didn't realize, that it was. That's how thick I am sometimes, Gerald. I didn't realize that all of these movies were Agatha Christie. How did I miss that?
Yeah, but all three of them, I mean, again, all the first two, I thought they were both good. I know that some people say, sorry, compared to the Daniel Craig murder mystery movies, so the Knives Out movies, I think there's a comparison between those two because they came out in relatively, the same time frame
Yeah.
to each other. So you could talk about which one is better, whatnot. But I'm glad both have been able to prosper enough to where there's actually, again, like we're seeing with Kenneth Branagh's Haunting in Venice, that will come out, like you said, as far as the trilogy is concerned. So that will come out later this year in September, but it was shown off a lot of footage at CinemaCon this past week.
And I did see Michelle Yeoh in that movie. I wasn't imagining that, right?
I believe that is
In the
correct. I'm going to
trailer?
see right. Yep, Michelle Yeoh. Yep,
Yeah.
she's in everything.
She's my girl.
Yep, absolutely. And the things. Oh yeah, she's on all the stuff because of Academy Award. No,
Yeah,
she
no.
has been very active the past 5 years.
Yeah,
I mean, she
absolutely.
was doing a lot of movies along with
Hmm.
Star Trek Discovery showing up now and then some other stuff as well. So yeah, she has been super busy. Crazy Rich Asians. I think ever since that, she's really kicked off a
Yeah.
really busy schedule for her. She is prospering heavily ever since that movie, and then winning an Academy Award for Everything Everywhere All at Once is now exceeding that because she's been announced as being part of other new projects this week at CinemaCon.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And now that she has that Oscar, you can back the Brinks truck up when you're talking
Yes.
to Miss Yeo.
That's what we love to say here at
Yes.
the Pop Culture Cosmos. Yep, back up that Brinks truck. Pixar's Elemental was shown off with more footage, 20 minutes of footage at CinemaCon. I'm really hoping for a rebound for Pixar, which had the highs of of the turning red, and then had the lows of Lightyear. So I'm hoping for a rebound with Elemental. I'm really hoping for them because not only do I have a personal and vested interest as far as a good friend that does work with Pixar, but also because of the fact it's just been a great company that has provided children of all ages many enjoyment memories over the years, so many good memories over the years. So I'm hoping for something like that coming about for Elemental, that they can create a new IP off that. They talked about again Wish, which is going to star a lot of actually famous actors and voices, including Chris Pine. Where we haven't heard yet, yes or no, on a sequel to Dungeons and Dragons, it will probably top out at North America right around 95-ish million dollars. So I don't know if that's the magic number to get a sequel lit, greenlit yet. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, the Marvels, Wish, Little Mermaid, Melissa McCarthy is showing her villainous character. She was there showing off a lot of footage from Little Mermaid. Haunted Mansion, a ton more stuff was shown off there from Disney. And then again, Sony was showing off a ton of stuff as well. So just truly a lot of footage, a lot of movies to get excited about, so much to talk about. If we were there, and obviously, even if we're not there, still so much to talk about indeed. But anything else that sticks out to you as far as something you might actually get out of the house, put on some maybe either pajama bottoms or non pajama bottoms, and go out and check out and see?
Well, honestly, I do think that the Elemental movie from Pixar, I think that looks fun to me. I might go see that. I don't
That's
know.
geared towards young adults or teenagers, actually, because it's like
Yeah.
a dating movie. It's where the boy meets the girl, the boy falls in
Hmm.
love. The only thing that they're like really they're opposites of either each other, because one is liquid, one is fire.
Right.
I understand that people might interpret that as probably being like racial relations, ethnic relations, as far as two different people from two different backgrounds meeting up and hitting it off, and the different things that they have to overcome in order for that to work out. So I'm just happy that it looks like it's hopefully going to be a good story. With Pixar, it's going to have a tearjerker ending as always.
Oh my gosh, they always deliver on that. And there was something about
Wouldn't it be funny if the tearjerker ending was I think the girl's water and the guy is fire. That is, the girl puts out the guy.
no, stop, no, that's not how it's gonna go.
The end.
But I am I one of the things that immediately I thought anyway was how much the characters reminded me of just visually the characters from oh no, the emotion one that was all emotions,
Oh,
anger
Inside Out.
and joy. Inside Out, yes, thank you. I just the characters, the way that they were animated reminded me a lot of Inside Out, which
Mhm.
if you're going to emulate anything that you've done in the past, it might as well be one of your greatest. So,
Oh, but that was a tearjerker of all tearjerkers.
oh
That that
man,
that swung, I think, a little bit too far in the tearjerker direction, but it was still,
yeah,
like you said, a very good movie. It's still one of the better ones, but
yeah,
yeah, I agree with you on that. It was just so disheartening, so sad. But need I digress? But so many great movies were showcased off this week at CinemaCon. I think for me, obviously, I think the number one movie I thought coming out of there, I'd still want to see is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, seeing how that lines up. But Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part One, I loved that first trailer that came out last year, and I'm looking forward to seeing that one as well.
Yeah, I mean, oh, am I over Tom Cruise? Maybe, I don't know. I know that there's a lot of people who are like, "What are you even talking about being over Tom Cruise? You kidding me right now with that?" But no, I really am. I don't know that I
Is it because of the big 6-0?
no, I don't think that it's because of that. I think does he just need to no, I don't think going away for a little while is the answer, because didn't he do he's just recently done that, right? Like, he's just kind of coming back to movies at this point. I don't know. There's just something off-putting about Tom for me these days. I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know what it is. But there's just something, and I'm like, eh, maybe. That might be a movie that I wait until it comes out on cable to see.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm gonna check this one out. I know Top Gun Maverick wasn't the best for you. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best for you. So
Right.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, a lot of buzz coming out this year from CinemaCon. A lot of buzz coming out for this year from CinemaCon. If you have any thoughts on CinemaCon, please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, still much more to talk about on today's program. Before we get into the heavy stuff and you laugh in my face for 20 minutes on Xbox, I want to go ahead and talk about a video game system that's coming out to all the major platforms this week, and that is Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel to a very successful Star Wars video game, one of which the Star Wars series had really not had in quite some time, as far as a good game that was lauded by critics and actually sold very well. First off, this one is a sequel to that. It's also getting really strong ratings as well. Your thoughts on Star Wars Jedi Survivor? I love the commercial with Mark Hamill and the actor who plays the lead role in Jedi Survivor. They actually have it's called a mocap session, and he tries to teach the actor the Force, and then leads around where he's Mark Hamill's like pissed off that the actor gets like in the video game two dual lightsaber wielding. He's like, I didn't get any dual lightsaber wielding. I didn't get any of that. And then at the very end, Mark is playing the game, and the actor comes over to him and says, this is how you use the Force. And I know. Don't tell me how to use the Force. I know how to use the Force. So it was a cute thing. It's on the internet, on Twitter, out there for you. But yeah, it's a great advertisement for the game. But it is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Is it something you might be interested in checking out? It's deep. It's filled with a lot of stuff that you can go ahead and do. It is on one planet only, but it is a very planet that you get to go ahead and check out and do a lot of good things.
The gameplay footage that I have seen of this game looks like exactly the play style that I like.
Mhm.
It
I
doesn't
mean,
seem
Jedi Fallen Order was a huge hit for them.
yeah, it really I mean, with the just the fact that it's not a first person shooter for me is, all I'm notoriously terrible at them. So I'm always glad when a big game drops that's not a first person shooter. So that made me really happy. But I mean, as we all know, my really big game purchase this year is
Mhm.
going to be like the top whatever I can order for Diablo 4. Like, I'm going all in. So it might
And
be the only
I
video
know.
game I can get this year. I don't know, but it's yeah, I'm excited.
You should be excited
Yeah.
because it looks like it's going to be a great game. It's going to be look like something that a lot of people are going to enjoy. It looks like it's going to be another big hit for Xbox,
Mhm.
PlayStation. It's just going to be something I think a lot of people are going to go ahead and check out. I'm really looking forward to going ahead and seeing how well this will stack up against Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, because Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, it's a AAA game from Respawn. Respawn is obviously one of the better video game developers that's out there, but a lot of people may or may not have thought that this game was going to actually do as well as it did the Fallen Order 5 years ago, and just talk about how well it did. But it is doing really well. It has done really well, and this game, I suspect, Jedi Survivor as a sequel, I think with the kind of good to very good grades that it's getting from the critics, it's going to do much more beyond that.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, I don't know that there I mean, okay, traditionally speaking, there it's really hard to miss when you're talking
Mhm,
about Star Wars anything, right?
mhm.
But yeah, no, this game looks great. The graphic looks great. The gameplay looks nice and smooth. You don't have to start from scratch because you're playing the same character that you were playing in the previous game. So you pick him up. You don't have to. There's no like amnesia storyline where you've got to remember how to push with the force and all of that kind of stuff. You just kind of jump in with that same skill set that you ended the last game with, and then you just rock on out through it. It's great. It's really smart. That's smart video game making, if you ask me.
So for now, you're just go with Diablo 4, but as you and I both know, anything that comes out now will most likely be discounted later this year when it comes to Black Friday. So this could see a steep cut beyond its $70 initial price point. Any thoughts on picking up later this year?
Yeah, like I said, I'm going all in on Diablo. I'm treating myself beyond what I should, but um, if it does come down and it is the right price, Black Friday or coming into Christmas or the New Year's sale that they do, or even the summer, no, well maybe summer sale, who knows? Weirder things have happened, but if the right price comes up, I think I would pick this one up. And I don't invest in a lot of video games right now because I don't have enough time. But um, two new games in a year, who do I think I am?
Wow.
I know, I know,
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Better talk to that husband of yours, I'm telling you.
Hmm. I know.
Absolutely. If he's smart, he's going to know to make sure to take care of you. That's for sure. If
Yeah.
he's smart, and you said he's smart, so there you go.
Yeah, I mean, he surprises everybody once in a while. No,
Oh,
I'm just kidding. Robbie's
okay,
wonderful. We give him a lot of crap on the show, but
and he
he's
loves it.
wonderful and he's
Yes,
very smart.
yes, he is. That he is. I
And
will
not
tell
in a
you though.
bless your heart kind of way, like in a
No,
he's a very smart guy
I
kind of
will
way.
tell you though that I think this is going to be one of the big hits of the year. Although
Yeah.
we've seen really good numbers so far, from actually 1 million sold in its first 3 days for Dead Island 2, which actually surprised me. As we've talked about on this show about Dead Island 2, 10 years in development. Thought that game was going to be one where, okay, it took so long to make out, it got mediocre reviews, it'd be passed over real quick, but there is still a market for it. And I was happy to see that, it's got initially the kind of sales that they were hoping for. So this tells me that with Jedi Survivor coming out 2 weeks before Zelda comes out, that they're smart enough to realize, hey, the door's kind of open for us to go ahead and sell some units, because coming up in 2 weeks, the world might change with Nintendo as they come out with Zelda and Tears of the Kingdom in the middle of May.
Yeah, I don't have a Nintendo system, so I won't be getting the Zelda game.
Oh, but I've got my Switch I'm looking at, so I know some young ones that might be interested, and I might have to lean that way, but we'll see. I know that that game is going to be just huge and expansive. I really don't know how they're able to pack in so much into a Zelda game on a that I don't want to say low end, but how should I say, less powerful systems such as
Sure.
the Nintendo Switch. But we're going to find out. So, but first, there's a deep and rich world that's out there with Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. What are your thoughts out there on Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order, the whole series, as Jedi Survivor hits consoles this week? And it's already out there. So go ahead and get it. So please let us know your thoughts on Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Pop Culture Cosmos at yahoo.com. All right, Melinda, we're going to go ahead and knock this out
Okay.
because Xbox, its pending sale or pending purchase acquisition of Activision has hit a snag,
Mm.
because in the in the UK, in the United Kingdom, where we have many radio stations that we play on, and thank you so much, shout out to the UK for allowing us to be on the radio over there. The Competition and Markets Authority this week has put a block on Microsoft's pending purchase of Activision Blizzard for roughly $69 billion. And for a while, for a long while, it was all about Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty being at the center of all this, as far as, it being a game or an IP or franchise that was going to only be put out exclusively on Xbox. Xbox then said it was going to make 10-year deals to any platform that wanted it. Nintendo took it up on its offer. A couple other platforms took it up on its offer, but Sony never responded on that. Sony's been vehemently arguing with the UK and US here as far as trying to get the sale blocked. And in its initial statement, they have indicated that one of the main reasons why that is being blocked for now is because of cloud gaming and what that would do, a purchase of Activision would do to cloud gaming market in the UK moving forward, which gave them some great concerns. And then I guess a supplemental statement after Microsoft, totally in a statement said that you guys have absolutely no clue what you're talking about. I just actually just condensed the verbiage of what they said. They said it in a much nicer fashion,
I
but
was going to say that's aggressive.
essentially it was a little bit of an aggressive tone, but essentially they said you have no idea what you're talking about when it comes to cloud gaming. The CMA came back with a little bit more on how Call of Duty might be not able to be played on a Nintendo platform, so they don't see how Nintendo can actually benefit from this as well. So again, it comes to a point where this sale is being held up. You and I have gone back and forth, and you and I will continue to go back and forth. TJ is actually said, I want to get on the show and I want to go ahead and talk to that Melinda about this because, as far as, your thoughts on it. But again, it comes down to the point where right now it's all up in the air. There's an appeals process. There's still the pending judgment and court case that may have to go through on the US end. There's still more stuff that has to go through on the UK end, but for right now, the purchase by Xbox and Microsoft of Activision is now on hold.
I am honestly, I'm shocked. I
I
really
was
am.
I was shocked too as well.
Yeah, I can't believe that somebody was like, can we just pause? Can we just a second? Because there's some stuff that we don't quite understand here, and we need to make sure that this is right before we just say yes, okay. So I applaud the caution, I suppose. But so the cloud gaming, when you say that, do you just mean like the digital purchases that are
No, just
stored?
like just everything is stored on the cloud. As
Right.
far as let's say your games, like for instance, Xbox Games Pass. Xbox Games Pass is essentially cloud gaming because you get it from the cloud. You actually download it to whatever, or sometimes you run it straight off the cloud itself.
Right.
So you have those options. And they're saying that the Activision purchase would give them an unfair advantage in that marketplace when cloud gaming takes up when you look at the statistics, cloud gaming still at this point in time does not make a huge dent in the video game industry, especially in the UK. I mean, we're talking a futures market for the cloud gaming platform for the most part when it comes to the UK market and also even the US market to an extent as well. But to me, I just think again, I'm just think it's the wrong move. I think it's something that my opinion. I think they're just trying to find reasons to stall or stop this purchase from happening simply because there are certain forces at work, in my own opinion, that want to prevent this from happening for whatever reasons, whether it's because Sony is, influencing this, or whether it's just their sheer anger towards Microsoft or Xbox. Something is a little fishy in Denmark over this. The old saying, something's a little fishy in Denmark over this. I don't know what specifically, but they're trying to find reasons. And all apologies to fans in Denmark and listeners in Denmark about that. It's just an old saying, so I apologize for that. But your thoughts on this, because really something is a little bit curious going on in the
Well,
UK.
well yeah, it really was surprising that they decided to put a pause on it. I
Because the
really,
European Union, the US, they still have yet to make a decision on this formally.
yeah, I don't necessarily think that it's good business for like PlayStation, for example, but I feel like Activision Blizzard, they need a cultural change in their company. We do know that they've had some pretty serious allegations floating around out there, and it could do a lot inside the company, but you can also change company culture without having to sell it to an entity. Do you know what I mean? Like there
Yes,
is a
but
way to turn that company culture around.
there has been for quite some time, starting at the top with Bobby Kotick, one of the video game industry's most despised individuals as far as how he's run his company. Yet he still sits on top and is waiting for his golden parachute to go ahead and land on as soon as this deal gets done. So he's going to
Perhaps
profit. He's going to profit either which way. There's just
per,
no way out of that.
perhaps his golden parachute is what's holding the whole thing up. Could you imagine?
I could imagine that, but still, like you said, there's been several cases of harassment,
Yeah.
work in the workplace for that company over the years, and again, I think a fresh outlook and a fresh buyer and a fresh owner would probably not only be best for that company, but also for the library, the extended library of Activision titles that are absolutely ignored because this company is only focusing on Call of Duty and a couple other titles. World of Warcraft, let's say also as well Overwatch. How many active titles do they really have going on in Activision? For $69 billion companies, let's just say that's their, because that's what their the purchase is being value added.
Right.
How many actually IPs do they actually have active and running continuously outside of what we see of Call of Duty?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, those are all good points, but I guess I'm just yeah, I think the conclusion that I'm coming to as we're talking about this is that you're probably right. There is something odd happening here. Uh, don't don't know what it is. Can't imagine what it could be, really. Um, but
There's just something fishy. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, yeah,
It's not, the cloud gaming is a reach, in my opinion. The cloud gaming platform is a reach, and again, in later statements, the CMA has talked about how they don't think it will be able to play on Nintendo platforms as far as the Call of Duties. Nothing has been on the Switch as far as Call of Duty. I get that, or very little has been on as far as Call of Duty. I get that, but going forward, if they've offered Nintendo a 10-year platform for it and are willing to make games, no, you're not going to get the quality on the Switch that you are of Xbox and PlayStation currently. But who's to say Nintendo isn't developing a Switch Pro that is going to go ahead and match those capabilities?
yeah. I suppose there we could see a massive market disruption coming our way from Nintendo. There's no way to really know, I suppose. But I don't know. As you know, on a personal level, because I'm PlayStation, not Xbox, and I'm worried about, some of my favorite titles becoming Xbox exclusive, even if that is, 10 years down the road. I think that, uh, and maybe there has been, and I just didn't see an article or anything about it, but I do think that some of their larger titles, like a Call of Duty and all of that kind of stuff, I do think that they should have to have something in there that says that these will never attempt to make these console exclusive.
And
Um,
that I have a problem with. Again, if you buy a company for $70 million, you
mm,
should be able to dictate how you want to. If Melinda, you purchase the Pop Culture Cosmos from me for a whopping $69 billion, and please do so if you like. I just want to
yeah,
let you know.
I'll call the
Absolutely.
bank right after this. I'll call the bank.
Sounds good. Sounds good. You can go ahead and change whatever formats you like. If you wanted to do a Wednesday show, if you wanted to change the name, whatever, you purchased it for $70 billion. You go ahead and do what you want within legal means. And, Xbox has made so many considerations and bent over backwards in so many different ways in order to try to get this deal passed. I think they've done enough to go ahead and say, you know what, we need to get this thing through.
I don't know. I still don't trust it, but I'm always looking for some kind of backdoor deal that's being done that we're just not aware of yet. So,
Oh, there's probably
um,
always backdoor deals being done. My gosh, it's upper business, whether it's the any type of entertainment or regular business. My gosh, there's always backdoor deals being done.
yeah. So, yeah. I'm cautious about it because I looked at my PlayStation and I actually do have quite a few Activision and Blizzard games on my system, which surprised me. I hadn't
Okay,
realized.
but
Um,
currently,
yes,
how many are
current.
currently inactive? How many currently are active as far as games are outside of Overwatch? Wizards, excuse me, as far as, of
Diablo?
course, no, not Diablo's Bethesda.
Oh, I thought it was Blizzard. Was it? Did it used to be Blizzard?
No, no, it's Blizzard. It's Blizzard. You're right. Yeah, Blizzard's, yeah, Diablo. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Activision. Yeah. So
Oh,
Diablo. So Diablo.
yeah.
Uh,
Um,
you've got Overwatch.
gosh, I
You've
don't.
got World of Warcraft. And
Yeah.
you've got that Call of Duty thing.
Yeah.
Anything else that comes to your mind when it comes to current Activision titles?
I mean, yeah, maybe not off the top of my head. I'd have to go and look for it.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
You
But
don't know
also,
off the top of your head out. You have to
also
look for it.
also, this isn't really a fair litmus test for it, because I admit that I am not the world's biggest video game person.
No, but that
I
tells you.
have my
But you
very
know your.
select
But you
titles,
know your
and
stuff. Don't tell me that. You know your stuff.
oh,
You know your stuff.
mm,
The answer is that there's not many because Activision is so reliant on such a small amount of titles, even though they have hundreds of IPs that they have over the course of the many years that they've been in operation, leading way back to the Atari era and that original Activision
sure.
that they have not yet that Microsoft and Phil Spencer has said they would love to go ahead and explore if they ever got their full hands on it, because again it would just mean so many more opportunities to create great games.
I guess I just don't. If you take the main titles that we're talking about and you keep those to be able to go cross platform, or whatever the terminology is for it, to be able to play it on no matter what system you have, um, and then take these titles that you want to develop that they're very excited about and take those and make those Xbox exclusive. Go for it. Go wild. Have a party, man. I just don't understand the business sense of, taking some of those top tier games that make so much money worldwide and make them exclusive to one console, because I'm not the only person who is not going to buy an Xbox, and at that point I would not buy an Xbox to make a point.
But I'm telling you, a lot of people would buy an Xbox if it went exclusive to
I
make
don't
a point to you as well.
I mean, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, I realize that we're in Nevada, and that really is, it turns out a report came out a couple of weeks ago that we're like one of the most video game obsessed states in the United States. So,
There you go.
yay for us.
Yeah.
We'd rather stay inside in the summer because it's 120 degrees outside. And I'll be playing Diablo 4 anyway, so I'm not going to see the sun. But
But again, it just, there's not that many things that Activision is currently dipping their toes into to
right.
put out there for gamers when they have a laundry list a mile long of IPs that they could go ahead and turn to and develop. And they're just not choosing to do that because they know it makes the money and that's all they choose to make the money, and not going ahead and venturing out into other things that gamers might potentially like if they were brought back to life or even created from scratch. So that's what I'm saying, is that all those things, all those side development studios that were once producing games back in the 2000s or late 2000s, the early 2010s, all those studios are now just focused in on a small amount of games. And I think that a purchase by Xbox would widen that and allow for more opportunities for more great gaming for anyone out there.
Yeah, I see what I really do. I see what you're saying. I see where you're going. I see the point of it. The deal still just doesn't taste right in my mouth.
And I don't think it ever will, no matter
No,
how hard I
it
try.
probably won't. And I'm so sorry to TJ. I don't mean to get him upset with me.
Let
But
me talk to her. No,
right? I mean, we're fans of each other from a distance. It's so funny. But,
he's
it's
awesome. Just like
it's
you, both you two are awesome on the show.
it's
And
just
I appreciate it.
no, it's adorable. But really, I just think that you know, ah,
Don't
taking
worry.
it and making it Xbox exclusive, like, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like you're punishing the wrong people,
I
I
just think if
guess.
you buy something that amount, you should be able to dictate what you want to do with it. $70 billion should allow you to go ahead and see the future as how you see fit for that company. And again, I think for all purposes, they have bent over backwards and made it available for other options, for other purposes, for other, game systems, and they have offered PlayStation that same deal, which PlayStation has turned down so far to this point. And Nintendo, they talk about how Nintendo systems are not able to play Call of Duty games to the level of PlayStation and Xbox. Again, I don't think Nintendo wants to, show out their hand just yet that they've got something along the way that will play it at a comparative level. But I have a feeling, the even though the Switch has sold over 100 million units, is one of the greatest selling units of all time. It is about or closing in on the time for a new Switch Pro or something to come out that's going to supplant the original Switch.
Sure. Yeah, that's just smart play by Nintendo right there, really. But yeah.
I think Nintendo's just like, in the gif of Michael Jackson eating the popcorn, just watching this fight take place.
Oh, they've chosen a side.
Yeah. They've chosen the side of Zelda.
They've gone green, not blue, is what they've done. And
Yeah,
that's fine. I see you, Nintendo. That's fine.
And their decisions happen, but they've actually worked and they've actually talked to each other as far as working with each other down the line. Yeah. So they see the issues within, they see the concerns, but they also see the benefits from it as well. But who knows what will happen? There's an appeal process. There's still the U.S. to come. There's still the European Union overall to talk about, is whether or not they're going to go ahead and approve the sale, and maybe again an appeals process to the UK's CMA in order to go ahead and get that overturned and get the sale done. We'll see what happens, but it is the most talked about subject in video gaming. It is the now very much pending sale, very much pending, with underscored pending right there for you, because we have no idea what's going to happen now with Xbox's wanting to acquire Activision. So we'll see what happens, Activision and Blizzard. But you have thoughts on all of this that's going on. Please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a fantastic episode. You kicked butt as always. Even when it means that we don't agree on something, you still you put out your thoughts. You leave them out to dry right there. You put them out all on the table, and I got to go ahead and take it all in because they're very sound. And like your husbands, they're very smart and well thought out. So before we head on out, getting you off that track, what are your thoughts on Disney Plus this weekend as they debut a movie which did not come to theaters in Peter Pan and Wendy with Jude Law playing Hook?
I'm going to watch it just to see Jude Law's interpretation of Hook.
Okay.
Really. I'm intrigued
Can't
by
be
that.
any worse than Dustin Hoffman's.
I mean, it will always have a very soft place in my heart, that particular pairing of Dr. Hook. No, Captain Hook.
And Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, so good. Rufio! It's so great. It's wonderful. But
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Not a lot of people did.
Well, I think I was just the right age.
It's garnered more love since then, like all things. It's garnered more love since then. What was bad then is not so bad now. So yeah.
Man, I had such a crush on Rufio though. Oh man. Kidding me with that hair? Woo! Child.
Robbie's be walking. Hey Rufio. Robbie's like, what is wrong with you?
What are you talking about? He asks himself what's wrong with me all the time, I'm sure.
Okay. Fair enough indeed. But the thing I want to ask you is there a reason why you don't think it came out to theaters? It's a possibility. And the fact is that maybe it's just a movie because I just did not think would do well at the box office, similar to what we saw with Ghosted, which is, has Ana de Armas and Chris Evans. You figured they should have put it out there. Netflix did with those kind of names out for a couple weeks, see what happens. But they decided to slap it right on Netflix. They're doing the same thing again here with Disney Plus. This again is something that maybe they should have considered otherwise, because again, this, unless it's not really received well, I got to go ahead and check the reviews here while you're talking. So let me hear your thoughts on why they didn't put it out to theaters and just send it straight to Disney Plus. Just the thing we were talking about leading out from CinemanCon, what all these movie theaters and movie were hoping for, and all these movie companies were saying.
So, I mean, Gerald, we give Disney a bit of a hard time, where you have weeks and weeks and weeks of no real new content between Marvel shows and Star Wars shows. So, I mean, should this movie have gone to theaters? I that's just a question that only the people making the decisions are going to be able to answer, unfortunately. To me, when a show goes directly to streaming, it's like when movies used to go directly to DVD. It's probably a stinker. Probably not like a bad movie, but
Mm.
it's probably one that is better left to, amuse the kids on a Friday night when they have a couple of friends over for a sleepover. You're going to make some popcorn. Everybody gets their little sleeping bags and camps out in the living room. That to me is what this kind of movie looks like. I think it sets things up correctly for that kind of an experience at home. And I would much rather have, a group of kids at my house watching a movie than trying to wrangle them all in a movie theater. It's like herding kittens sometimes. It's shocking.
What are you more against? Are you more against Xbox or movie theaters?
It might be movie theaters.
Wow.
I know.
Lately, wow.
I know.
But yeah, I can't say I blame you in certain ways because for me, I was very apprehensive to go back to the movie theaters. But just I've noticed this tension as far as you really not wanting to go back unless it's really exactly for the right movie. So
Yeah, well, I mean, and I can get like a 5-pound bag of M&M peanuts for $10, or I can get the little tiny snack size package of M&M peanuts for $10. Which would you rather? You know?
yeah, that's a great point. That's a
And
great point.
but I do understand that that is really largely how movie theaters make their money, and I'm not trying to begrudge them of that. I'm just saying at this present time, my pocketbook is telling me to stay home and eat my 5-pound bag of M&Ms and not go to the movie theater.
And that definitely is a great part of it. So there, I can't blame you at all. But
Yeah.
just kind of weird also as well. We have not seen any thoughts on reviews of it yet. So that tells me when something is usually released to reviewers right before its release
Mm.
or on the day of release or not get sent to reviewers at all, that's not a good sign either. So that may be another reason why this movie was sent to Disney Plus.
But could you imagine if it was the opposite reason? They're like, this movie is gold. We just need to get it in front
I've
of
only seen it
people.
happen a couple times
Yeah.
where, yeah, something is just like, not been sent to reviewers for maybe like for reasons they don't want to go ahead and put spoilers out there really early. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it came out to be reviewed good. Usually it's not a good sign.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm today I shall, well, not today as a whole, but today right now for this conversation that we're having about this movie, I'm going to play the optimist and I'm going to say maybe that's what it is.
Okay.
Because they
Fair
have
enough.
said that they've changed elements of the Peter Pan story, right?
I hope so. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's
There's not a whole lot on. I've only seen one trailer on it.
yeah, I guess
So
it's kind of what Disney does though, isn't it? They change movies or stories to fit anyways. We don't need to talk about all of that right now, but maybe it's enough of a change that they didn't want reviewers and stuff to spoil it. So that could be a reason why you're having a hard time finding a review for it.
could be indeed, but we'll
Yeah.
see. But are you watching Peter Pan and Wendy on Disney Plus this weekend? Let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. All right, my friend. I think Super Mario Brothers is going to have one last really good weekend before GOTG comes out next week, Volume 3. Because Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, Big George Foreman, The Miraculous Story of the Once and Future Heavyweight Champion of the World, Polite Society, and Sisu, which could be a very under the radar movie. Sisu, by the way, I heard is getting a lot of good buzz as far as an action movie is concerned. Those movies are probably not going to come anywhere near what we see from Super Mario Brothers. Any last thoughts on that before we head on out?
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as you for this one. I don't think that any of those movies are gonna really break the runaway freight train that has been the Super Mario's movie.
Well, if you haven't heard enough talk from Melinda and I on movies, guess what we're doing next week?
We're talking movies.
We're talking movies. It's our big summer movie preview as GOTG Volume 3 kicks off the summer movie season. Next week, we'll share some initial thoughts on that, plus also some of the great movies coming over the next few months as well during the summer that maybe one or two Melinda might go to. I know I'm going to probably go to, but we'll see. I don't know if any of them, we'll see if one gets her out to the movies. We'll see if we can determine that. But I know she has a lot of good thoughts on the movies. So, please join us next week for the summer movie preview. And then also, if everything goes well for Monday's show, I've got John Orlando from the PVD cast coming back because I'm really stressed out. I'm really wrestling stressed out by all the weird stuff and all the strange stuff and all the dumb stuff that's going on in the world of pro wrestling. So I think I need a therapy session, Melinda. I think I need a therapy session with Dr. John Orlando from the PVD cast, and that's coming up on Monday, just to
Well,
let you
thank
know as well.
goodness you get to talk to somebody about it, because I know, I understand.
I'm lying on the couch in his office, and I'm going to do that on Monday. Looking forward to it. I'm hoping everything all goes well. If he booked enough time for me, he's a really busy guy, Dr. John Orlando from the PVD cast. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
for that. So
Mhm.
yes, really wrestling stressed. Yes. So
I understand. I do. I get it. I
I'm
sympathize.
stressed. I'm stressed from CinemaCon this week, and this weekend I'm stressed out from pro wrestling. What can I say? Pop culture just gets me stressed. So for Melinda Barkhouse Ross, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great